broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I want a remix of this song. Can you...
Say, could that last be?
No, it's not working. No? It's not working. But I would love to know if there was a remix of this song out there. Maybe we can Google that later and figure it out.
You guys have a remix of the Outlander theme song.
No.
Tweet it at us.
Welcome, AfterBuzzers, to another Outlander after show. I missed you guys last week, but I know you were in good hands with Miss Marielou over here. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to us on YouTube, or you can check us out on SoundCloud or iTunes. Always leave your comments below. This show is way more fun when we get to chat with you. And speaking of chatting with us all together like one giant cocktail party, find us on Twitter with the hashtag AVTVOutlander. Don't forget to also put hashtag AfterBuzzTV. And I'm your host, Lauren Ebersol. You can find me on social media at The Fancy Hippie, and my lovely host over here.
I'm Marielou Mandl. You can find me on all social media at Marielou Mandl.
All right, Marielou.
I'm really glad I wasn't alone for this one because it was traumatic.
It was rough.
Yeah, last week was rough, but this week, like, I don't even know.
I mean, it was it was a finale. Okay, so this one was titled "To Ransom a Man's Soul," and thankfully they succeeded. I appreciated that this started with an under 17 warning, saying, avert your eyes, children, unless you have a parent involved,
because
down. A lot of crazy things are going to happen. This episode is also known as, in my mind, as the return of the penis.
Yes, it did come back.
Little Randall came back. We open up and we see they're kind of snuggling as if, like post-coitus.
Yes, it totally was post-coitus.
Yeah.
And usually I watch the episodes twice. I watch it once for enjoyment and then the second time to take notes and have stuff to talk to you guys about. And I could not get through it a second time. It was too much. Especially just from the opening. I was like, oh, I can't.
I know, and you see Jamie and that look on his face. He is mad. But also just looks exhausted.
Broken.
Totally broken. But they cut to the scene outside with all of the army men, all the members in the red coats. And I just thought, oh my gosh, what if all these guys knew that this is what Randall was doing? They'd probably overthrow him. I mean, that time period, they would not be cool with it. Which brings me to this point. I have learned that in the book, it stated that Captain Jack Randall he's not gay. It says he is not gay.
Okay.
It's more that he wants to dominate, and it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. It's mainly about domination. But I haven't read the book, so maybe it's described that way there. But I have to say, in the show, I would think that he actually is gay because every woman, it's more like he wants to take them by force, but also hasn't followed through with it. And with Jamie, he even says to him, dear God, you are a magnificent creature.
Yeah.
And he really he was very tender with him. He did a lot of violent things, but he was very tender with him, which I found really
definitely
interesting.
Different. I agree with you because it seemed he had a different adoration for Jamie than he did for the females. The females was this, I just need to overtake, but he couldn't get it up, or it just didn't. No follow through. It was just the scene with Claire, he just beat her and then he didn't get to go there. And then with Jenny, he couldn't get it up.
Exactly.
But with Jamie, it's he goes down on him.
I know. There was a handy.
It was
intense. Yeah, it was intense, and it seemed almost like that was something that he had been longing to do for a long time. And I mean, he rides in on his horse in that past episode where he saves Jamie from getting hung, and you know, of course, he then proceeds to torture him as well. But it's really, all of this just to get to this point?
Yeah, I do think, I feel like he's got some love for Jamie. Sick, twisted love.
Yeah, it's definitely not. It's
That's not the way to court somebody. No.
Nailing somebody's hand into a table is not a way to woo someone, Randall.
No, like ask him out.
I know. Maybe he should go to a dating coach.
Yes.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I think he
so.
should.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some good blogs, dating coach blogs that Jack Randall could have handled.
Yeah. So Randall gets ready to leave. He's putting his clothes on. Jamie says, "You owe me a debt." We all know this is because Jamie just wants to be dead now because, Randall had his way with him. And he's not doing it. But the guys come and they rescue Jamie. They get him out. And then he is in this wagon with Claire, but he wants nothing to do with Claire.
Yeah.
She tries to touch him. She tries to comfort him. And all he can see is Randall.
Mm-hmm. And then when all the cows come in, like, Randall's just knocked down underneath a door. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is a perfect time to just kill him.
I know. Why didn't they just kill him?
But Frank.
No one cares anymore about Frank. Claire doesn't care anymore about Frank.
So, it's true.
She's so over it.
Yeah. But I did
it.
kind of wonder if the guys didn't recognize him and they just thought it was like, could have been any old soldier. Because there's like cows running around.
How would they not recognize him?
Had they not seen him before? I don't know.
I've assumed that they all had, but who knows? But then the priest gives them shelter to nurse Jamie back to health, and then we start seeing these flashbacks.
Right, and then when they're in the wagon, somebody was like, he smells like, or Claire was like, he smells like lavender oil. And I was like, oh no, lavender oil is my favorite. Don't make it evil.
Don't ruin lavender. It's supposed to be the most relaxing scent there is.
Terrible.
But yeah, so we see the flashback. And Randall's bathing Jamie. He's like pouring the water over him. I know. He's like really
tender.
caressing him, kisses him. I don't think he was really trying to kiss any of the ladies.
No, he gave him like this real sensual, gentle kiss, and Jamie was resisting, and that's when Jack Randall's like, "Oh, so that's your plan? You're just gonna..."
And then we go with the handy, the blowjob, and then finally Jamie's like, "Just do what you're gonna do." And a little like spit lube, and and we're in there. How's that? Just wow. Also, to see something like this on TV, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, Starz just getting it done. I've never seen male rape on television.
I know.
And I can't even remember a scene in a movie unless maybe it was like a little boy, not like a grown man raping another grown man. So it was really interesting to see how that was handled and how they shot it, because it projected the feeling that this is awful.
Yes.
Not like sometimes when you see scenes with female rape, it's like, oh, yeah, she was going to get raped. Rape happens in these times.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard that. People say that when they're like, oh, like with the...
Let's be clear, neither of us is condoning it.
No, it's not okay.
At all.
And so that's where it was interesting how they portrayed this.
Yeah, and I thought that they did a really good job with it.
Especially with the gore, when we cut back to Jamie and he's on the ground and there's like blood stains on his butt cheeks. I was like, whoa, serious business.
Because spit is not effective lube.
No.
It's not.
No.
Which is take one thing away from this episode. Spit is not effective lube.
Poor Jamie.
So he does the whole thing. He keeps seeing Randall's face and Claire's when we go back to present day. Then Claire sets his hand. You actually have to talk about anything that happened during that scene, because I can't do blood.
Yeah.
I have no idea what happened. Well, all I did was hear noise.
It looked really realistic because they had close-ups on there. They gave him something to make him go to sleep because he was resisting, and then he like chugged the medicine, whatever it was, and then she's like working on it forever, and so you see his hand, but there's like definitely bones sticking out all over, and she's like, yeah, I set his fingers, but one of them took a lot of force. And
there's a thing about the ring finger where she doesn't know if he's going to be able to bend that for a while.
Luckily she knows how to do all of these things, like set bones and deliver babies. And That's it.
Right? If you're ever in a pickle, you want Claire
Beecham by
Claire
you.
Beecham,
or Claire
Fraser.
Fraser, Claire Huxtable.
She got
be
so
helpful,
many
too.
names. And then, so she sets his hand, and then she goes into the chapel, and the priest comes in, and she tells him everything.
Yeah, and he believes her.
He does. I know there was that pause, and is he going to scream witch? Is he going to just go with it? And he went with it. He said, wow, this is extraordinary. It's like a miracle.
Yeah.
And it must have felt so good for her to just get that off her chest. I know she did it with Jamie, but also to get, somebody else.
Somebody else, and especially when she's at this point where she might lose the one other person that knows. So she's doing this confession, and the priest, I think he kind of does this thing where he's like, believe you or not, God knows what's what.
Yeah.
So he's like, I might as well just believe you. It doesn't make any difference.
Priest.
Yeah, do your
I feel
thing.
like all the other priests we've seen in this show so far have not been on that level. They've all been a bit single-minded. But
but everybody in this...
very open-minded.
This is it, an abbey, I think?
Oh, okay.
Or something? I'm not sure. But they were all really good. And they were just talking about how his soul was being tortured, and the only way they're going to have to fix him is, or it might not be able to be saved, I think is what they were getting
it's
at.
so dark.
Yeah.
Well, because then we have... I'm blanking on his name. The Jamie's best friend comes in, and they're talking Scottish, and he's saying, I want you to kill me if things get too far. Or he probably wanted to be killed right then and there. Willie comes in and says, I want you to kill me. And then we start seeing these flashbacks of when he gets branded.
Yeah.
So he's starting to submit a little bit, and Randall takes out his branding stick. Sets it on fire and is like, you're mine, but Jamie brands himself.
Right. Well, it's because we see Jamie starting to kind of lose it, and he starts seeing Claire in
Randall,
Jack.
yeah.
And so then Jack Randall's like, say that you're mine. Jamie thinks that it's Claire, and he's like, I'm totally yours, boo. And he's like, prove it.
Come on. Jamie, Claire would never ask you to brand her initials.
He's broken, though. That's just a testament to how bad things were. But then you think that that's the worst it can get is that you know, he brands himself. And he's also kind of like, let me just get through this, because if I didn't do this, what other torture is he going to make me go through?
And I think at this point he's just waiting to die.
Yeah.
So, but all this stuff where Jamie wants to die, it was really frustrating for me because I get that he went through some horrible trauma. We've seen it all through the flashbacks. But Claire's there now, and the fact that he is just shutting her off and is saying, oh, I don't want to live, I just want this to all be over. Claire's been almost raped a few times. I believe at least raped once. She's gone, and that homegirl has still pushed through. Yeah. And I get that there is a mental toll that is taken, but I think he takes it to a whole nother level.
Yeah. Well, she even addresses that when the one guy is saying, she's like, why does he want to die? And the guy's like, well, he's been through a lot. The man's been broken. He was raped. And she's like, so?
Yeah. And it's it's awful, it's horrible, and there's so many deep wounds that are created. But the fact that it's more that he wants nothing to do with Claire. That is what I found a bit hard to believe, because their love was so strong, because he said he would do anything for her. Yeah. And if anything, you would think that would be more of a relief.
But it was because Randall used his delusion of thinking Claire was there as a way to get him to submit.
Yeah, and then now he is associating the two of them together.
He might have just had a little psychotic break, because when he saw Randall, he saw Claire, and when he saw Claire, he saw Randall. Yeah. And he was put his hair on him,
that's right. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
he's and Claire's here.
Massaging the oil of lavender.
Side note though, who has their monogram branding stamp on them at all times?
Clearly, Captain Jack Randall.
He's like, oh, you know what I got?
Yeah. Here. He just wants to mark his way
mine
throughout town.
Mine.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking, mine.
Ooh,
he's like the seagulls. What are the seagulls?
Yeah,
was that
Finding Nemo.
Yeah. That's
Captain
Jack Randall.
He sees that this is a way he can get what he wants out of Jamie. So he like puts his hair on him and like puts the lavender on him to get him to relax.
Yep.
And then
we
he gets
see all
hard
this.
and he's
He
like,
does.
wait for me.
I know. And then like kudos to these actors because they went for it. I mean, they were pretty naked. Even if there was a sock on the stuff, that is, you are up close and personal.
Yeah.
And I mean, I felt like I was watching softcore porn in a way. And, I mean, I did.
Because it was getting there. Yeah.
It was. I mean, we saw the penis.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't shying away from body parts, though we did not see Jamie's penis.
Yeah, he's not that. He's like
We
you
did
didn't pay
not
me for
see
that.
it. No, we saw a lot of butt. He's got a great butt.
Yeah.
So, bravo.
Yes, nice. You do those
Bravo,
squats and lunges.
Jamie.
Get them done.
But they say, okay, the only way to get him out of this may be if somebody goes into the darkness with him. Mm-hmm. So Claire's like, all right, I'm on it.
Yep.
And
she's like,
gets that oil of lavender. And he
like smacks him in the face.
so much smacking. I was like, damn, girl, she is fierce.
Yeah.
And this is when we're seeing the whole round of sex that was like the last thing where Randall really finally broke him and Jamie finishes.
Yeah.
And you see that moment where Jamie finishes and he tells Claire, you know, I was in so much pain. And he was so ashamed because he actually was feeling pleasure from it. Because at that point, he just didn't want to feel pain anymore.
Yeah.
And what do you do? Like, what do you do? It kind of was the only thing he could do.
Yeah, and that's where with the episode, last week's episode, somebody had brought up that there was in Game of Thrones. I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones, but there was like a parallel kind of situation.
Yeah, I heard about this.
And that, you know, I'm glad that somebody brought that up in the comments because, like, we love your comments. But it was just portrayed differently because I saw the Game of Thrones episode afterwards, and they always have rape.
Yeah.
But it's always a girl getting
It's like
raped.
another Sunday of
Like,
Game
it
of
happens
Thrones.
all the time, but it's just like done so differently, and it's kind of like, girl, just handle it. Just deal with it, where he's breaking apart. So I'd love to hear you guys' comparisons on that. Like, we really love your tweets and your comments. Like, I love reading them on YouTube. I know you also respond to all of them also.
I love it.
So please do that. And also, we do have a really important survey. If you guys could take that for us, a listener survey at podcast1.com, and that'll help us do the best, make the best show for you, even though I know we're on the last episode of this, but we have lots of AfterBuzz shows. You can do a survey for any of those, or you can do a survey on this one so we know what you want for next season. Just take like 3 minutes at podcast1.com. So make sure you do that and then come back and give me some more comments that I can respond to, because otherwise what are we going to talk about after this one?
#ABTV Outlander.
Yes.
#ABTV Outlander.
Yeah, so but like with where like the female characters who get raped don't get any like this
amount of attention.
And this whole like episode of like, I'm so tortured and raped. They're just like, man, that sucked.
I know.
Guess
kind of unfair, right?
Yeah. So it was interesting to see. But yeah, that's why it was like super gratifying for Claire to go in.
This is why men don't do childbirth.
Don't do it. Not for you.
No, not for you. You can't handle it. You can't handle it.
Yeah. When she comes in, she just like, what is wrong with you?
I know. She's like, bam, bam, bam. But then she says, and this is what really wakes him up, I will die with you right here and now. And then I think he was just like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, I can't, no. She was going to like Romeo and Juliet it. And then he finally comes back to life. Thank God. We've been waiting for you all episode, Jamie. She says a great thing, which I love. She said, the only way I can make sense of this whole thing is us. Like, why on earth have I come back to this time period if it wasn't for this love? And they have this really passionate kiss. And in that moment, it was like another one of those moments where I go, sorry, Frank.
Yeah.
She is over you.
Sorry about it.
Even if she goes back to present day.
Yeah. Well, because they weren't even right anyway. Like when you find this like passionate love.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
And she says, he may have had your body, but I have your soul. And then there's like the ceremonious taking off of the branding.
Which was so gory. Were you able to watch it?
No, I didn't watch it.
Okay, so,
I heard it looked like a pepperoni.
Yes. So his homeboy like brings out the blade and he's like standing there and he like gives him a belt to bite, and he just goes up and goes floop, and it like flops off, and then the guy's like holding it, and it looks like a pepperoni that says JR, and they're like, throw it in the fire. And I was like, that's kind of comical. Like the way it was done, it was kind of, because he was like, Loop. Oh,
it's a great sound effect.
Yeah. I practiced them.
Like before this show, she was like, looking in the mirror, doing her. Yeah. And now they're off to France. They're off to France. They're on the boat. And this is where things got really good. Because this is a nice little sneak peek into next season where they're saying, what if we can change the course of history? What if the Scots don't lose? What if we can make it? Which I thought was cool, but at the same time, I was like, Claire, space-time continuum.
Yes.
Like, what else are you going to mess up? What if you say the Scots and, like, all else just disappears?
Then it's the apocalypse.
What if zombies come back? Did I just really say come back?
They came back. Because the first time
do with that what you will.
If you missed it the first time, you heard it here.
The zombies are returning. And then they say the prince will be in Paris. Maybe we can talk to him and start to convince him to change the course of history, which is interesting. But drum roll, please. Claire is pregnant!
With his baby. Jamie's baby. Because he's like, I thought you couldn't. She's like, I guess I was wrong.
And now we know it was all Frank. The love just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And
it's not love that makes a baby.
Not the kind of love that makes a baby.
Yeah, they were having sex.
Oh, I know they were having sex. I'm just saying, like, I think, it could be that, or it could just be like they're like Juju wasn't jujuing together.
All right,
you know, and he's got this like blank stare on his face, and she asks, "Are you happy?" And he's like, "I never thought I'd be able to say this again, but yeah,
let's do this.
I am happy." And then they pan out, and they're on this beautiful boat, and it turns out that boat was real.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a real boat. They had the helicopter do like a bunch of passes to get the whole shot. Apparently people were getting seasick, but they didn't want to admit to it. And I love that this show really shoots in Scotland, really shoots these beautiful locations. It's not just a bunch of like green screen and CGI, which I really love because I think there's just something so nice when it's just really, authentic.
Yeah, well, and that's what this show is like with the scenes and the sets and the costumes and all of that. Really, really authentic. So, yeah, and I had some pictures actually from the costume exhibit at the Grove. So yeah, we have a few of those. If you guys live in Los Angeles, you can go see this. I know that it was still there yesterday because the author of the Outlander novels was there doing a book signing.
She was?
Yeah.
Did you meet her?
I didn't go yesterday.
Okay.
I went sometime last week when we were in our week off, and I was like, what am I going to do without my Outlander? So yeah, I went there to check out some of the costumes. So there were two different displays. This one's the first one, and we've got Jamie and Claire outfits, and then also a Galis and Dougal one, but I have some close-ups of those other ones.
If you look at this outfit, this Claire outfit, it's amazing how well she wears it. Because how dumpy does that look on a mannequin? And you see it on her, and she's just so beautiful. She was a Victoria's Secret model. She was? No way.
Yeah.
How did I not know that?
That's why she's so pretty without any makeup.
Yeah. No, I know she's beautiful, but I did not know that.
Yeah, so and then we also had some other pictures. The next one we've got is Frank and Claire.
Oh, I love these outfits. This is from the first episode.
This is 1945. Frank and Claire.
What a great time for fashion.
I know. Can we have that like all the time?
Yes, please.
This was much more comfortable than I think what she's wearing in the old times.
No corsets needed.
And then we had Galis and Dougal in our next one, which like so stylish with her fur vest.
No, that's pretty. It's like very haute couture.
Yes. Yeah, that one's really fabulous.
Oh, Galis.
But she's like, what was she from the 70s?
Oh, that's right. So that was kind of like her bit of flair.
Maybe. Yeah. And then we've got dun 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 up next. Captain Jack Randall. And like this costume's really cool, but it did scowl at it a little bit.
Little
Randall's wee right inside there. And then
sorry, that's so not fair. We always see it flaccid. So
maybe it's like
just because he's so evil that we want to say mean things, but we apologize. I apologize.
And then we've got my favorite of them was Jamie and Claire's wedding outfits. Like, and the detail on Claire's gown is like next level. So good. But again, like as far as the shape, right? Could be really frumpy, but she rocks it.
Would you ever wear that for your wedding? Like nowadays?
Oh, maybe.
Like a kind of tweaked version of it?
Yeah. I like that it's not all white. Yeah. I thought that was kind of neat.
This almost looks like chambray or something.
And all this like leaf stuff.
Do you think frilly sleeves will ever come back for men?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's bring it back.
Let's bring it way back.
Yeah. way back.
Yeah, so if you guys are in LA, right, you can go check that out at the Grove. And if not, I can post these up on my Twitter and you can see these pictures. So the second display is outside too. So it's like really cool to see. And then there was like on the back of the display, there was writing from like the books, like excerpts from the books. And then on the front of the glass was details on what each episode was that the different costumes were from.
Very cool.
So it was
and there's
great.
a Nordstrom's right over here.
A Nordstrom's, and there's also a movie theater.
They have a fun little cafe. You can go get like a cocktail and see the Outlander exhibit.
Yes.
At least that's how I would do it.
Yeah, no, it's a good time. Yeah, so I guess that's our season 1 of Outlander.
I know. Gosh, I'm going to miss it. Should we just a little prediction for next season?
I think so.
Okay, predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So we got into it a little bit before we were taping. We both got a little bit of information, but I think we're both unclear as to what happens with this, right? So we read that Claire in the books
goes back. Yes.
But I don't know if it's actually present time. She just travels again to somewhere closer, I guess.
We were wondering, is this Jamie love story only a little facet of the books, or is it a constant theme? I hope it's a constant theme because I feel like what they have is so real and beautiful. But who knows?
Yeah.
You've read some stuff that makes me think maybe it isn't.
Yeah. Well, and then so we got Claire's pregnant. I predict that there's going to be complications with that baby. I don't know if that baby's going to make it.
Yeah.
Because there's like 8 books or 25 books. I don't know.
And how do you keep a baby along for the whole ride?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Unless she's like, she's like, all right, time for you to be a stay-at-home dad. See ya.
Right. Peace out.
I'm going to
go
jump
on
to
an
the
adventure.
rocks.
I'm going back to the rocks. But what if she's pregnant, but what if she then went back to the rocks and went to another point in time? Would she still be pregnant?
Yeah, would the baby travel also? Does the baby travel well?
That's an interesting
put it on ice.
question. Yeah. Time rock machine ice.
Another theory that I've got now, because I was thinking about Frank and Jack Randall, right, played by the same actor, same lineage.
Yeah.
If she travels again and finds Jamie in another place, and it's like her love story with like Jamie and Jack Randall like lookalikes.
Yeah.
Maybe like the Jamie one's the evil one.
Present day Jamie.
But then it would probably be like her baby.
I was going to say, could she meet her kid in the future?
Yeah.
Are we complicating this far more than needs to be?
We need a DeLorean so we can know.
Do they mesh worlds with Back to the Future?
Yeah.
And then find alternative ways of... Is Marty McFly the father of the baby? Oh my God, we've answered everything. All right, well, we're going to miss you guys, and we're looking forward to seeing you next season for the Outlander After Show. You can find us, or you can find me online at all social media at The Fancy Hippie or thefancyhippie.com. Marielou, where can I find
me on all social media at Marielou Mandl. Looking forward to next season.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.